everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Power Within podcast. And this time round, we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Laura McDonald. And Laura is a hypnotherapist and coach based in Castlebar, County Mayo. And she has been running her practice since qualifying in 2004. Laura has a keen focus on mindset for weight loss, as well as performance enhancement for sports, work, or exams. So I'm going to bring Laura in here. Laura, you're very welcome on the show. How are you?
Hi, Trevor. Thank you for having me. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And it's great to have you on the Power Within podcast. I just went through a brief bio of yours there. Is there anything you would like to add to that in terms of the work that you do and the services you provide? What you're all about? What's your...
Yeah, you covered most of it. I do a lot with smoking as well, and stress, as we all do. A bit of meditation here and there, and that covers me. Yeah.
Great stuff. And so you're at this quite a while. Like, can you just give us a little bit of a background to how you got into hypnotherapy and how it all started for you?
Yeah, I was always interested in the mind, probably because I battled with my own for so long, from, I suppose, mid to late teens, always questioning myself, always criticizing myself, always wondering why I felt a certain way. And when I was at college, I studied English literature, and I wanted to be a teacher, and got my degree, and there was something missing, I think. And I saw this ad in the paper for a hypnotherapy course, and I did it just out of pure interest. And I remember on the first day of that course, I thought, oh my God, if everybody knew this, we'd have so many less messed up people in the world. Because when you think about it, it's actually very simple. You know, how your mind works, and if you know how it works, you can help yourself so much, you know, and people don't know that. So that's what I said. I remember ringing my mum in the lunch break and saying, this is what I'm going to do for a living. This is it. So that's how I got into it.
And you went for it from that point on?
Yeah, I did. As soon as I finished the course, I just, I remember the teacher saying, when you qualify, get straight out there. Don't wait, because if you wait, it'll be a year, another year, and then you know, there's so many people that qualify in this, and I've seen it, that just say, I'll wait till I've got more experience, or I'll wait till I've had a few more clients, or, you know, a bit of practice for free, and they never do it. So as soon as even before I qualified, I had a booking, a room ready in a clinic for me to go into, and I just went straight in, working with pregnant smokers. So I went straight to smoking cessation as I started, and it just went from there. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Since then, yeah. So I think that's why smoking for me is one of my, I wouldn't say favorite, but I find it quite straightforward to work with.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't shy away from it. Whereas I know some people think, oh no, it's not something I do. But if I get someone on the phone, I want to stop smoking, I'm like, well, brilliant. That's an easy one in comparison to some others.
Right. And I know from our discussions offline that you eventually went on to develop your own hypnosis training school. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Well, I didn't write my own course. I taught Terence Watts' course. He's an English hypnotherapist. So I started teaching that in 2016. And I did that till 2022, I think it was. I ran 4 courses. Of course, the 4th course took nearly 2 years to teach because we were interrupted with COVID and all that. And I also taught his BWRT, which is brain working recursive therapy. So that was fun teaching. I don't do it anymore, but it's something I might go back to sometime.
Brilliant. And I'm sure doing the course, running that course, help you to develop your own skills and expertise, even doing the course, because that's a wonderful thing that you've done. It's a big challenge, I know, to run a training course like that, isn't it?
Yeah, terrifying. But the way I looked at it was I had the opportunity a couple of times, and I just kept saying no because it's too scary. And then I thought, what would I do if somebody else did it instead? What would I do if someone else in this town set up their own training school? It would really get to me. So I was like, right, I've got to do this. So I just did it. And I remember sitting in the training room the morning of the first day of the first course. I was thinking, oh my God, what have I done? I can't do this. I can't do this. I was having nightmares about all the notes I'd printed, you know, me dropping them in the street and stuff like that. But I couldn't have had a nicer group for the first group. It was brilliant. Very good for self-development and getting up and talking. And I mean, I still get nervous now doing that, but it's something I would never have done a few years ago, you know.
Sure, so, yeah. Sure. So you push yourself out of your comfort zone, of course, big time. Doing it. Yeah.
And as we know, that's what, you know, this work is all about. By showing your subconscious that something that it was scared of is okay, makes it easier. So then you're like, well, what's my next challenge? What's my next challenge after that? So it's like when you're stepping into the sea, the freezing sea, very gently, and then you just jump in, and it's never actually as bad as you expect it to be, you know. Sure. It's just your mind kind of plays tricks on you, doesn't it? And can be your biggest limitation, isn't it? Yeah. And we know that being hypnotherapists, that in many ways what we do, I know the different the specifics of the way we work and the services we provide are different, but like the same principles apply. Like we're about helping our clients bypass their own limitations, so that they can achieve their goals, whether it's in terms of quitting smoking, and that's a big one for me as well. That's you know, like probably my main area of expertise. So I'm on the same page with you when it comes to that one, and that can be very rewarding. Like when I find, like, I mean, I'm doing this now quite a while, and I've helped literally hundreds of people quit only after one session, and you know, when each time that we get a successful outcome with that, it really is rewarding in terms of, like, you know, it's a life-changing session, because when our smoking clients stop smoking and become non-smokers, then the chances are we've helped them add many years to their lives. Yeah. You know, it's a huge deal. Yeah. It's a huge thing, isn't it? Yeah. And I know you probably as well, you've had people come to you smoking that could be smoking for 40, 30, 40, even 50 years. Yeah. And it's amazing that, like, the power of hypnosis and the work that we do, that we can connect with that part of them, that within the subconscious mind, and remove the parts of programming that is, like, has been there for all that time. And when they leave our offices, it's a real sense of freedom, and it's a completely different zone, isn't it, when they're leaving as to when they're coming in. Yeah, it's amazing. And to hear back from them weeks, months, years later, it still amazes me to this day. Wow, so powerful. I think one of the best smoking success stories I had was a guy who came in. He was smoking 60 a day, I think, and he needed heart surgery. He'd had heart surgery and he needed it again. And he was like, I've got to do this. And even in my own head, I was like, oh God, this is a tricky one. That worked. And people from he was wondering what he was going to do with his hands. He's like, I've always got to have something in my hands. And I said, well, what would you like to do instead? He said, I don't know. Would I like, can I eat fruits? I said, whatever you want. And someone came in from his office and said, I don't know what you did to my boss, but he's walking around eating oranges, apples, grapes all day. And he hasn't touched a cigarette since. That was over 10 years ago, you know. Even I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So even though well, for me, even though I know what I'm doing, there's still always a bit of me thinking, oh, I really hope this works, you know, and amazed when it does.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure you'd agree with me that, like, when it comes to quitting smoking, that a big factor is the clients. Our clients want to stop smoking, and they need to be at the threshold to stop, don't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Like that's why I get them to, you know, I either get them to fill out a form, or we have a lengthy chat on the phone about, you know, why do you want to stop? Do you still like smoking? And if they say yes, I wouldn't take them on. I'm really fussy about who I bring in, because I've seen it before. If they come in, oh, you know, I'm not sure. I know I should, but I'm not really sure I'm ready. And this is in the early days. It doesn't work, in my experience. They have to be at that point where, look, I'm sick of this. I hate the fact that I'm doing it. I'm lighting up a cigarette and I hate the smell. I hate the taste. And, you know, they have to be completely done with it, in my experience, and it works. If they're doing it for their wife or their husband or their kids, it's not always as successful, I'd say. I don't know if you found the same or.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And funny enough, a couple of years ago, I used to give vouchers at Christmas to quit smoking. So I'd have people that would buy vouchers off me, and they would be given vouchers as presents to family members and friends, and I had to stop those because I had all these people coming in January feeling obliged to come in because they're after receiving this gift. But in actual fact, it needs to come from within themselves. They need to be, as we're agreeing on, at the threshold to stop, and doing it for the right reasons. Because otherwise, it's not going to last. And ultimately, it's the same across the board. Like, whether our clients can see us for quitting smoking, reducing weight, reducing stress and anxiety, whatever the case may be, they need to be at the threshold to make that change and to take personal responsibility for their own success as well.
Yeah.
And that's a very important point.
Yeah, it is.
Because
they have to make the appointment themselves. They have to be the one getting in touch with.
Exactly. Do you ever get, I'm sure you've gotten people over the years that have contacted you on behalf of a friend, or ringing for a daughter or a family member. And I'm always encouraged, like, there are circumstances where they can't ring, but like in 95% of cases, I'd be encouraging the person themselves to pick up that phone and ring and make the phone call themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I say the same thing. I'd say, get them to ring me and I'll have a chat with them, because I've seen that before when I started out in London. And I didn't know that this was the case, but someone had booked in to see me and brought someone else in place of her own name. She didn't want to be there, So I wouldn't advise that. Definitely not. Make the booking yourself.
Absolutely. And where would you stand on the substitute for the smoking? The e-cigarettes, the gums, the patches, and all the rest of it. Would you be a fan of those? Would you be a fan of those? Or
No.
No, yeah.
It's just swapping one problem for another, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the problem or the issue hasn't been resolved. It's just being managed in a different way. They're still telling themselves they can't manage without the patch or the e-cigarette or whatever. So that, and I think e-cigarettes, they're worse in the sense that you can't monitor, I suppose. I know they can because there's a liquid measurement in it, but a smoker, I could say, how many are you smoking a day? And they'll know exactly how many. And with a vape, they're like, oh, I'm just at it all day. There's no start or finish. It's just puffing away all day. So they don't even know. It's just like some people in smoking, they say, oh, I smoke when I'm angry or stressed or tired, or I smoke in the car, or I smoke on my work breaks or first thing in the morning. But there always seems to be a cut-off point. They stop for a minute or so, or half an hour. But vaping, from the people that come to see me, seem to be on, vaping all day long.
Absolutely.
What do you think about the patches, or
no, like, I mean, part of my own opinion is like part of the solution for anything is not more of the problem. And
yeah.
I agree, you're just substituting one habit for another and you're still putting nicotine into your system. Like,
yeah.
I don't get it, because hypnotherapy and the work that we do will allow our clients to stop smoking without any cravings in one, say, 90-minute session. And you don't need any cruxes, you don't need any gums, patches, or anything. Like,
no.
may do in some circumstances is to teach my clients some techniques like self-hypnosis, anchoring, or some other techniques that will help to provide a much more productive outcome than the smoking habit provided. Because, as you know, like, the reasons that they would have started smoking maybe about 10, 20 years, 30 years before are not the reasons that they are continuing to smoke up until the present day.
Yeah.
And so hypnosis, like, we cover all of that with our clients. And so that's why, like, it really is a life-changing session.
And get them to watch their language. I talk to them to, I suppose, bring them back to being a non-smoker. Act as a non-smoker, think as a non-smoker. A non-smoker doesn't need a patch. A non-smoker doesn't need an e-cigarette, because they're a non-smoker. And they won't be saying, oh, I've cut back on cigarettes. Because then that language you're still saying that's how a smoker speaks. So the language is, no, I'm a non-smoker. Someone offers you a cigarette. No, I don't smoke. Not, no, I'm off them. It's, no, I don't smoke. And the constant repetition of that in your mind, so compounds that, makes it permanent.
Exactly.
And like you said, the self-hypnosis is a tool. No matter who comes into you, teach them self-hypnosis, because that's what everyone should have knowledge of, no matter what it is you're trying to work on. So powerful.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So moving away from smoking cessation, is there what other services or what other ways do you help your clients that you really, what are you really passionate about? What makes you tick? What drives you in that way?
Pain management and meditation.
Okay.
Because I have arthritis myself, and I discovered yoga nidra. It's not hypnosis. Well, it could be a version, but it's like, when we do progressive muscle relaxation in hypnosis, we get, your eyes, your face, your neck, your shoulders. Yoga nidra is a much deeper version of that. So you're literally your thumb, your finger, your third finger, your fourth finger, your fifth finger. And it's, I suppose, you've got to stay awake the whole way through, like you would ideally with hypnosis. And because you're focusing so much on your physical body, you get out of your thoughts, and then it has an impact on the nervous system, which calms that down. And I think when you're in pain all the time, or when you're thinking about pain all the time, everything's tense, everything's on edge, and it just makes everything worse. A bit like when someone is in labor, because I do hypnobirthing as well. Relax the thoughts, relax the mind, and let the body do what it's designed to do. But yeah, going back to pain, there was a technique I learned about, drawing where the pain is in your body and what color would it be. And mine was red everywhere. And then changing that color to a different color that you associate with healing, and visualizing it. Mine was yellow, visualizing that yellow, flowing all the way through your mind and your body. And it doesn't get rid of the pain 100%, but it's managing the pain. And I know for me, stress makes the pain worse. So what do I do when I'm stressed? I take time to do self-hypnosis or meditate or stop what I'm doing. So managing pain instead of thinking I must eliminate it completely. And again, a bit like the smoking, taking it away from your identity instead of like calling it my pain, my arthritis. It's the pain in my body. My body has this pain, but it's not me. It's not who I am. And it's something it's going through, and I need to pay attention to that. And so I love doing that with people and giving them a sense of control over it, because the more pain, the more in pain they are, the more stress they're getting, and then that stress makes the pain worse. And you've got to get in there somewhere to change the cycle. Does that make sense? It doesn't eradicate it completely, but if stress makes something worse, manage the stress. Sleep as well. And we don't, a lot of people come to me with sleep issues and they can't sleep properly, or they go to sleep and they wake up. There's something going on that they can't switch off from, or they're stressed about. So the brain doesn't actually fall asleep properly because it's on high alert. It's waiting. When you have a small baby, it doesn't matter how much of a deep sleeper you were before. When you have a baby, you'll wake up as soon as they make a little noise because you're on edge. You're waiting for it. And that's the same with someone with a lot of stress going on, because it's going back to evolutionary, millions of years ago when we were on edge waiting for lions and tigers. But now it's become bills and stress and work and kids. So we're on edge when we're trying to sleep. So managing sleep as well is very important. Winding down with a meditation or a self-hypnosis and keeping the thoughts as positive as possible while you're falling asleep. Because that's a very suggestible stage, as we know as hypnotherapists.
Absolutely. I'm absorbed in what you're saying here.
Probably waffling.
It's great stuff.
Just one thing leads to another thing and another thing, and
it's all connected, isn't it? And that's the thing, like with hypnosis, in my view, like we have a process that once our clients commit to and engage with, then they're going to get the benefits from. That's something that, look, I've been getting out that message for a while, that it's about the way your mindset when you approach your hypnotherapy session or program. If you approach your hypnotherapy program or session with the right mindset, commit to the process, engage with the process, then you're going to get what you want from it. It's not, and it's something that is enjoyable as well. Like I always say, like, what better way to make a change? And it's like I have a wonderful, beautiful office here, and it's something that my clients enjoy. And the more our clients enjoy the actual process itself, the more benefits they're going to get from it. And it's natural, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's natural to be a little bit apprehensive at the beginning, especially if you're a person that has never experienced hypnosis before, the hypnotic state before. It can be a little bit skeptical. What would your strategy be in terms of that? If you have clients coming in and they're a little bit apprehensive, how would you reassure them and put them in mind that it is?
I will always say, this is your session. I'm here to help you. You guide me. And I'm going to give you, some tools or show you how your mind works or whatever. And it's up to you if you want to do anything. If you want to get straight to work today, or if you want to come in another day and have a think about it, this is all up to you. And if you decide this isn't for you, that's fine. And I can see them instantly like, oh because I think they think, oh, what's she going to make me do, or what's she going to, what's going to happen to my mind? So of course, reminding them, you're in control here. I'm just showing you what your mind is capable of and what you're capable of, and hopefully build some inspiration in them. You're like, wow, what can I make happen for myself? Get them excited.
Yeah.
Get them walking out going, wow, I've got this power within me. And 9 times out of 10, well, let's say 10 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, I want to do it now. I want to do it today. And then when we start doing any hypnosis or anything, I'm pointing over there because that's where they sit. I say, remember, you're in control here. Anything I say, you get to choose whether you accept it or not. This is your session. And this is for you. And you're the one. It's as if they're the gardener and I'm handing them the tools. It's up to them if they put them to use or not. So I can't make the changes happen, but they can. And that also helps if someone, you hear a lot of people saying, oh, I went for hypnotherapy, it didn't work. Well, sometimes it doesn't, or sometimes you didn't utilize it yourself.
Sure.
They put the onus back on the hypnotherapist.
Sure. And like a question that I don't know, I'm frequently asked, I don't know about yourself, I'm sure you are, is about what's your success rate?
Oh, yeah.
My answer to that question is, well, when it comes to smoking cessation, if you're at the threshold to stop and you really want to stop, well, it's 100% success. If you're not at the threshold, it's 0%. So other than that, that's the answer that I give. And one more thing about like just listening there and what you were saying. Another thing as well is that we give our clients, like remind our clients in many ways that they have the ability to learn. Because when a lot of people become adults, then you can forget that, how when you were a child, you had no limitations, and how we learn so many things like, walk and talk, read and write, cycle a bike, all of these things that we take for granted. And recently, I'm actually blown away by my son, Owen. I have a son, Owen, he's 8 years of age, and he started hurling in March this year. And when he started, he'd never heard of hurling before. He'd never picked up a hurley in his life. And now it's 5 or 6 months later, and he's astounding me by like his skill and how far he's come in 5 months. And that's actually is inspiring me as well, because I'm looking at even Owen at 8 years of age. And if, it reminds me, it remind us all of the capacity that we have to learn if we believe in ourselves and,
just so happy doing it
and enjoy it and enjoy
it with himself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Laura, it's been a pleasure having you on, and it's been amazing listening to you and, listen to your story and all the wonderful ways that you help your clients. And you're so nice, and it's been amazing having you on. It's been lovely chatting to you here on the podcast.
It's been an honor to be here. Yeah.
Brilliant. And I'm delighted to have you on, and you're more than welcome on again in the future. Is there any parting words of wisdom you'd like to relay to our listeners before you go, in terms of hypnotherapy, the work that you provide, and the help that you give people?
I'd say to ask people to consider hypnotherapy first instead of last, because lots of people come to me and say, I've tried everything, and then they come for hypnotherapy and it's the piece that they were looking for, so give hypnotherapy a go, learn the tools of self-hypnosis and see what it can do for you. It's unreal. That's what I'd say to everybody.
Brilliant.
And then they can teach their children and teach their children's children, and
that's right,
a generation of happier people, because they can manage their minds.
Absolutely. And as a community of hypnotists, hypnotherapists, we need to change that mindset from in the general public, that it's usually a last resort, that they ring us and they contact us. And
they spend thousands upon thousands of treatments for years and years and years.
Right.
You don't need to come for hypnotherapy for long. You learn it for one thing, you have it for one thing, you've learned a tool that you can use yourself anytime, you know.
That's right. So folks, if you have and are experiencing any of these issues that we've discussed today, if you're a smoker, you're finding it hard to break that habit, if you have pain, if you're suffering from stress or anxiety, insomnia, all of the different issues we've touched on today, give myself a ring, give Laura a ring, or give all of the great people that I've had on this podcast a call. And especially in this day and age, like, it's not necessarily we see one-to-one in person, we have those sessions and programs, but we also do online work as well. And I know you do online work, don't you, Laura, as well? So it's the world we live in now. Help is there, so just reach out and take it, folks. Thanks, Laura, and look, we'll be in touch. You're a lady, you really are. Thanks very much again.
You're a gent.
So, folks, I'm going to bring another episode of the Power Within podcast to a conclusion. My name is Trevor Evers. I'm your host. And until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we'll see you on the next podcast.